I had a nice pork chop and wanted to make a warming brunch type thing along with some gochujang as the two main flavours. It's a slightly spicy red pepper paste used in Korean cooking. I got the chop frying in a bit of oil over a medium heat under another pan to ensure an even cook. At this point I thought I was going to glaze the pork chop with the gochujang, which is super salty, so I didn't season the meat. I like to keep the rind on pork chops for an extra layer of texture, but if you do this it's super important to score it with a sharp knife to stop it from buckling and to get the skin in contact with the pan for a bit. It was at this point I realised that by the time I'd made a glaze, then glazed the pork, the chop would overcook as it wasn't actually as thick as I'd originally thought it was. I took the pork out of the pan and saw some yummy sticky bits at the bottom. My mind turned to a pan sauce type pivot. Shallots form the base of so many classic French sauces like peppercorn and bordelaise, so I sliced them up and got them frying over a medium heat. I kind of clocked at this point I could glaze the shallots that were frying in the porky fatty goodness with a Korean inspired sauce. I got gochujang and soy sauce into a container, then for sweetness dropped in a pear. It might seem strange to a Western palate, but pears are often used to sweeten foods in Korean cookery. Pears also work really well with pork. Think crispy roast pork belly with applesauce, only more fragrant. I added some sesame oil to round everything out, then tipped it into a pan with the shallots. As it cooked down and got dark and sticky, I had to think about how to fill the dish out a little. I tipped in a tin of beans, juice and all, to take things in another direction. My thinking here was that golden pork over Korean-inspired baked beans could be great. The beans would also soften the intense flavours a little. Baked beans are pretty sweet, which is good because I had already sweetened with pear, but they're also sour, so I added vinegar for acidity. Things were starting to get exciting. Once the beans were ready and tasting great, I popped on the pork chop to keep it warm and fried an egg until crispy to bring things back to a brunch territory. I spooned my glossy porky Korean beans onto a plate, topped with the sliced pork chop, my crispy egg, seasoned with salt and cracked a yolk to dress everything in its velvety goodness. I was super happy with how it turned out and the plate was really well balanced. The pork could have done with a minute or so less cooking, but we live and learn.